Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We have a lot of stories to get through today, but we had to lead on the obvious one, which was that late last night there was a meeting. At the end of that meeting was a vote, and the result of that vote means that Fergus Ewing has had the whip removed and he is no longer a member of the SNP. Now, the suspension is just for a week, but it's the principle that counts. Now, Ewing, of course, is one of those very few MPs, or representatives at any level really, who is universally liked. Now, you may disagree with his politics over the independence of Scotland, but there's no denying that within and without the party, people see him as an intelligent, charming, witty, above all, honest and hard-working representative. He works hard for his constituents, he's well liked, and he's not afraid of holding a mirror up to his own party and pointing out their mistakes. You'd think they'd listen and take his advice and change for the better. But of course they didn't. And they suspended him because they are petty-minded and childlike, and they cannot bear criticism in case it makes them look like stupid, corrupt idiots. There's no worry about that, because that's exactly how we do see them. Anyway, we'll take a look at this story, see what it sort of means for Fergus, and will it gird his loins enough for him to make a challenge at the gathering in Aberdeen in October? We want to hope so. Here goes. So, Fergus Ewing suspended by SNP following continued criticism of the party. The long-time SNP MSP has been suspended for a week following a late night vote last night. And it's just so childish for this. Oh look, he dared to say something against us. He's never voted against the SNP. He's only ever voted along party lines. The only time he voted against anything was against the Greens. But as he would point out, that's not his party. And he does think that Lorna Slater is a moron. So, hey, I think everybody who watches these videos is in complete agreement with Fergus Ewing on this one. Anyway, Fergus Ewing has been suspended by the SNP after a majority of MSPs voted to oust the outspoken party critic. A majority of 2/3 was required to carry the suspension, which was reached on Wednesday night. The Inverness and Nairn MSP was represented by John Campbell KC, who was counsel to the Holyrood inquiry. Now, of course, this only makes Fergus Ewing even stronger. You go to Inverness, the people in Inverness absolutely adore him. He will be voted back in. There's no way they can get rid of Fergus Ewing. And if he ever took mind to become an independent, he would carry that seat by force of personality alone. There's no one else in the SNP with that kind of loyalty and following. No one else is, how can we put it? Well, no one else is respected universally like Fergus Ewing. This is the thing you've got. And you listen to his speeches and things, and they're just joyous sometimes. He is so clever, and that's why I like him. I mean, don't like his politics, I've always said, but as the man, I think he is an absolutely wonderful politician. He's one of the few decent ones, like I say. You never hear anything about him, do you? There's never any question of dishonesty or deceit. Honest to a fault, one may say. Anyway, Ewing faced being booted out of the party after a series of attacks on its leadership. He has been critical of its proposed gender reforms and policies he reckons could be detrimental to Scotland's economy, such as the DRS and the protected marine areas. And so, even if you don't support the SNP, you're probably agreeing with Fergus Ewing on all these points. So it's a weird thing, isn't it? Scottish Conservative Chairman Craig Hoy, MSP, said Humza Yousaf has once again shown his contempt for remote and rural Scotland by punishing an MSP who has dared to point out how his government has failed these areas. And the SNP leader should be listening to Fergus Ewing on issues like oil and gas, duelling the A9 and devastating fishing restrictions, rather than being in thrall to the extremist Greens. Well, I've got to say that Hoy's nailed that one to the mast, hasn't he? He's spot on there. He went on, he said, it tells you everything you need to know about Humza Yousaf's priorities, that Lorna Slater remains in government despite her catastrophic mishandling of the DRS, while a member of his own party, who rightly called for her to go, has been ostracised. And that's what this is all about. He has to keep the Greens on board. That's why Fergus has been suspended. It's got nothing to do with what he's done. It's because they have to make a big showing in order to keep the Greens happy, because they are utterly reliant on the Greens, not just to maintain their majority, but for all their ideas, because they have run out, because they're mostly too stupid to come up with them. And so they're just taking whatever mad idea the Greens come up with. And boy, are the Greens mad. And of course, Fergus has pointed this out. And so Fergus has got to be punished because, oh, the Greens are the greatest. Because make no mistake about it, it is not an SNP government. It is a minority Green government propped up by the SNP. Earlier this year, he backed a Tory motion stating Holyrood had lost confidence in the Scottish Green Minister Lorna Slater, and just this week voted against his party on short-term lets licences. And this is because being in Inverness and being at the head of the loch there and all the beautiful areas, and you're coming down there, down to Fort William and that, it's all tourism. And he represents a constituency that relies heavily on tourism. So he did that unforgivable sin in the SNP of standing up for your constituents. How bloody dare he? He's blasted Slater's handling of the troubled deposit return scheme and derided the Greens as wine bar revolutionaries. And off the back of the A9 failure said, frankly, I don't think we deserve to continue to be in government. Well, no, not when your policies are killing people. You know, decisions that you're making deliberately is costing people's lives. The MSP divided opinion within the party, with many speaking up to defend him. Michelle Thompson warned that suspending Ewing would damage the SNP's leader's popularity. There's no worry there. He's already lost that. He is not the SNP leader. He's the man keeping the seat warm for the next leader. It won't be long, I suspect. A spokesman for the SNP Holyrood group said, at a meeting this evening, a proposal was carried to suspend Fergus Ewing from the SNP Holyrood group for a period of 1 week because we are tired, petulant little children who don't appreciate someone who has the best interests of the party at heart. Basically, that's what they didn't say, but that is the truth of the matter. So there we go. Fergus suspended by the idiots because they think that by appeasing the Greens, it will make life easier. Just in the same way as Neville Chamberlain thought appeasing Mr. H would be a good idea. You never appease. If you're in power and you're the leader, you don't appease the tiny little minority that is the Greens. You tell them, you've had your minute, we're going to be in charge now. If they don't like it, they can FRO. Anyway, I'm going to round off and come up. You can guarantee that a lot of the people who voted to suspend Fergus are basically political non-entities who sit and look at him and desperately wish they had his levels of integrity and support. They're nobodies, they're nothings, they're placemen and journeymen. They're not anyone who could fill his shoes. They couldn't kiss his boots. Some of them are just horrible, obnoxious, corrupt, stupid individuals, hand-picked because of their unswerving loyalty to flag and leader. Whereas Fergus, there's not many like him, is there? Let's be honest. He's a dying breed, is old Fergus. So let's hope, as I say, that this will give him strength in his arm, and that come the Congress up in Aberdeen, he does make a challenge. He probably won't win it, but it will open the door, and it will and basically what this does, of course, is it shows the weakness of Humza Yousaf. It shows his absolute weakness, that this supposed leader of the party is so scared by one MSP that he has to suspend him. He must be absolutely petrified of Fergus Ewing. But then that's obviously true. Humza Yousaf is a very weak man, and weak men do things like this. Strong men don't need to. But then we are Children, isn't it? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I do offer my support, Fergus. Hope this week goes quickly for him. Hope he turns up every day and gives them grief, eh? Anyway, till next time, stay safe, stay well, and good luck, Fergus. Bye.